I'm watching the rise. And I wouldn't say I'm shocked, cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride. This one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife. Could've left 1,000 times just to by my side. This one's for the grind. I knew it would happen, just had the strength in my mind. To the videos, they thought I was a black guy. That's hard to get over. I'm foreigner in this world, but I'm fully devoted. I don't take it for granted that the door's been open. I knew I was different, I knew I was chosen. A breadwinner, but I'm soft-spoken. Authentic like a 5950 and there's no cap. Let's have a toast to that. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the They done baptized the bad guy. Still don't follow religion. The fabric's not average. The cotton's Egyptian. 500 for the shoes, come dirty, but the European. Less is more and less is the bank. Up the store, I pull up from train. From the tray, I'm ballin' like Trey. Do what I can, I do what you can't. I wrote this 30,000 feet up. 10 toes stay G'd up. I'm tryna get that type of wealth, like a house on the hills, can't see us. Say the money still me up. Stay humble, stay teed up. I don't tell you how to live, so don't hit me with no weak stuff. And if you know the deal, then you know the deal. If it's real, then you know it's real. Toast. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real. For the real ones. Have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real.
Whoops. Oh, can everyone hear me? I think my audio was a little bit funny for a second there. Can everyone hear me now? One in the chat. Happy hump day, everyone. Hi. Lovely. Great, you can all hear me. Fantastic. Thank you for joining the chat, everyone. As usual, it was one of those strange days where story kept on unfolding and more things that I literally think like maybe 4 or 5 things have come through at different parts of the day today. It's definitely just one of those days. But thank you all so much for joining. Wow, some of your comments. This is why I love you all. I love that you say all the shady things so that I don't have to say it. Because I do still try to be careful. But you lot are allowed to be as wild as you want. Hello, Faith. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Elaine. Hi, Joyce. Jennifer, hi. Betty, cookies and cream, hi. Listening while you drive, cookies and cream. You're still distracted. Let's see if we've got any new names. Ones I don't always recognize. Rochelle. No, I think you've been around, Rochelle. So the Mirror changed the article story about Willie having dinner with a friend to him having dinner with friends a few days ago. I didn't see that. That's interesting. But yeah, a lot's been going on today. Hello, my point of view. Very good evening to you too. Hope you're having a wonderful day too. Hello, Regina. Bethany, hi. Lucy, hi. Faith, hi. Hi, Quinn. Hi, J-Law. Melinda Shepherd, hi. Bonnie, hi. Trinette, giving a shout out from the Space Coast. What's the Space Coast? Was that meant to be East Coast and then it auto-corrected? Hi, Faye. Righty ho, let's get right into it because there's quite a bit to go through today. But welcome everybody and thank you for joining us. Just a reminder that obviously Harry and Meghan's anniversary is tomorrow, and there will be a Twitter Spaces, and I'll probably be doing a live as well. And I think pretty much everyone doing a Sussex Squad podcast is doing some kind of live or celebration for Harry and Meghan's anniversary. So whoever you want to go to and join or hop between them, please do come along and let's celebrate and let's reflect, because I feel like we're going to reflect on their anniversary a lot differently this year than I think we have in previous years, especially now that we know more of what they were going through and what was going on behind the scenes. So yeah, that will be joyful, but I think there's a lot of negative things, unfortunately, that I think we have to reflect on because so much has come out since. But we'll make it as joyful as possible. So we'll start with some positive news before we get into the meaty story of the day. Invictus is now welcoming Colombia and Nigeria to the Invictus Games. So wounded soldiers from those countries will also be joining. And I'm sure as the year goes on, we will get more announcements that more countries will be joining. And it was said during the last Invictus Games that something they were looking to do was get more African countries involved and more South American countries involved, because I don't think there was actually a single African country that was involved in the last Invictus Games. So that is some great news. And Harry himself did put forward a statement, and he said, "The world felt the power of our Invictus Games community last month in The Hague, and now I am delighted to announce that we have two new nations, Colombia and Nigeria, joining our inspiring international family as we continue to harness the power of sports in recovery and rehabilitation year-round. I'm proud to share that Invictus is now represented across every continent except Antarctica. The Invictus community of nations is built by the resilience of the men and women who serve or have served, and it's a distinct honour to offer even more wounded, injured and sick service personnel and veterans the opportunity to be included in the community and programming we offer." The Duke of Sussex, patron of the Invictus Games Foundation. Beautifully said there by Harry, and it's great to see more of them, more countries around the world being included, and their families also will get to experience something that they've never gotten to experience before, because we know that Invictus, it's not just about the athletes, it's about their families as well, and they have a whole program for friends and families of veterans to come and enjoy the games. And I think that's so important because it really takes a village to I think support a family member who has gone away to the front line and come back with all of those wounds, both physical and mental. So it's great to see Invictus expanding. See, Every Moon, I'm listening for last 40 minutes of work. It's that last 40 minutes that's the hardest, isn't it? Just push through. Also, my job is expanding to London, and I'm hoping to be able to transfer over there. Dying. Ooh, well done, Every Moon. So, are you transferring to London from another city in the UK, or do you live in the US? But well done. Do we have any Nigerian or Colombian squaddies in the chat? Will you now consider going to Dusseldorf if you weren't considering it already? So that's that. Also, some positive news. Archewell is expanding their executive team. They have hired Ashley Montaheny to lead global communications. And in her new role as executive vice president, she will oversee all of the communications efforts for the company's numerous divisions, including the foundation, Archewell Audio, and Archewell Productions. She was previously a director of corporate communications at United Talent Agency. So they have some of the biggest stars in Hollywood, actually. It's like United Talent Agency, a CAA, and I think WME. They're like the three biggest in Hollywood. So definitely experience. And there she was responsible for raising the profile of the company and its agents and lead internal and external communications strategies. Amazing. So reliable, well experienced people joining. No nepotism here, because we know that often in the royal household, some of those positions are hereditary. They get passed through family members, or it's people from within their circles that know them. They definitely don't get hired on merit. Bright Eyes. Oh, you got your travel book today. You're leaving for Aruba and Chile next week. Amazing. Tell us all about it. Wishing you the most wonderful journey. I hope you feel so inspired by the stories in the book and the tips in the book as well. So, you know what? I wrote the book so you don't have to kind of read it in order. You can just kind of go to the chapters that suit you the best. But have fun, Bright Eyes, and do tell us all about it. Never been to Aruba or Chile myself. Majorie, listening while doing the dishes. Looking forward to joining Spaces for the anniversary. So am I. I think that Spaces will be fun. Yes, Rahini, one word, professionalism. Dina Masor, thank you so much for the super chat. Just a bit of a correction about last night's topic. Oman is not a dictator country. The only reason I know that is because my nana is from there and I've been there so many times. Oh, thank you for letting us know that, Dina. Would you perhaps be able to tell us, is there any political upheavals that are going on in Oman? Have there been any human rights abuses? I think maybe perhaps that's what the organization that were protesting, maybe that's what they meant. But I certainly wouldn't want to put out any misinformation about any country if that's the case. So thank you very much for letting us know. And thank you for the super chat. Sylvia, I read an article during this past Invictus Games that Meghan would love to have some African nations at the Invictus Games. Well, it's something that they'd been talking about for a while, so I'm glad to see that they've done it. Elaine Parker, what is Spaces? Spaces is kind of like Clubhouse for Twitter, so people can talk to each other. Okay, so that's that. New Archewell hire, lovely. And so the Queen was out and about to open a new train line. I don't actually know what it's called. I think it's called the Elizabeth line or something. And she was there with Edward. Edward just looking absolutely gleeful because he never gets to go out anywhere with Mummy. Charles is in Canada. William flew out to the UAE to do another event on behalf of the Queen. Kate's with the kids, I guess. Who else? Oh, Andrew just is not allowed out of the cupboard. So Edwina got to go with Mummy instead. And there was quite an interesting moment where the Queen was interacting with a gentleman, and I'll just let you watch the video and then we'll discuss.
Just put in the reading right.
On there?
Yes, just step back a second. On this way. You should press that against there. Yep, perfect. So you can see on the screen here, you can see we've got 5.
So there you can see there's a gentleman trying to show the Queen I don't know, something to do with the buttons. And the Queen is actually, she's very interested, she's very engaged, she's talking to the gentleman. And for whatever reason, Edward is like, don't get too close. He's almost, kind of like pulling, well, not pulling him back, but like trying to like shoo him back. And the guy has to walk forward anyway because he's trying to interact with the Queen, who is very, very engaged. And again, it's just very bad optics on the royal family's part. I don't know why he felt the need to do that. Even security wasn't saying anything. And people on social media definitely had something to say about it. I feel like these people just can't be helped because I don't know, it's just like this behavior that keeps being exhibited over and over again. Elaine Parker, I'm not on Twitter. No worries. I'm doing a podcast and I'm sure Baron will do one and maybe some other squaddies will do some podcasts. And of course, oh, yes, I forgot to actually prepare a slide for it, but Squadathon this Saturday, I believe. So make sure Saturday 21st, make sure you check out the Sussex Squad podcast, Squadathon. Obviously, the money for that is, well, they're doing it in aid of the fundraiser for Archie and Lily, but I believe it will be an 8-hour show. I am going to be on the show myself, and there will be different segments throughout the show. So I think they've got Sussex Squad, creators. I think they've got Sussex Squad France. They'll have a little time for themselves. So for the French squaddies, and just different voices from the Sussex Squad multiverse to come to assemble and celebrate Archie and Lily's birthday and raise money for charity. The last time we had a squadathon, we raised 25,000 for the Invictus Games. So we've done more than that for this fundraiser. So let's keep it going. Eri, the fact that he would put his hands on someone who was picked to help her specifically. Exactly. This was not a random person who just came out of nowhere. So I don't know what that was about. All I can say is, Edward, this is why you're never invited out the house with your mother. Marcy, Duchess that says, is it me or did Harry's comment about the Queen being protected so true? Well, she seems to be so much more happier and giddy since Harry visited her. It's just very weird, isn't it? Yes, Rahini, is it just me or does the Queen have an extra pep in her step since Harry's visit? I believe she does. Like, I thought it was just me, but I feel like everybody's noticed it. She does. She has a pep in her step. She seems like she's a lot more smiley. She is, being dressed better even. So there was definitely something deep going on. And, if they can be sloppy with caring literally for the monarch, especially when she is now at her most vulnerable, there's definitely something very odd going on behind closed doors. Stuff that we may not even want to think about. Linda didn't notice Edward touch anyone else. Exactly. I just think with these situations, people of color should just stop participating. I know some people are going to feel some kind of way about me saying that, but knowing everything that we know that Meghan went through at the hands of this family, I kind of feel like you're just it's like, do the people of color who now take part in these events, is it because they don't care? Are they being paid? Is it because they just don't believe what Meghan and Harry went through? Have they been promised some kind of status? Because you just wouldn't catch me dead with any of these people at this point, knowing what Harry and Meghan were put through, knowing what was said about Archie's skin color. Miss B, he's teaching the Queen how to use a ticket machine. Exactly. So something so plain and mundane, and Edward felt the need to put his hands on someone. Very odd. Thank you so much, Keddy K, for the super chat. Much appreciated. Yes, Bright Eyes. I can't wait for the squadathon either. I think it's going to be very fun. They need to keep Edwina indoors. He's got his frilly panties in a twist, obviously. Yeah, Sharpie. I think that Harry laid into them as well, and they weren't expecting it either. That's the thing. Melinda, Edward needs training. Well, because I don't really follow Edward and Sophie and never have, I don't know what type of engagements they do, um, and how they handle their engagements, other than obviously the last kind of mini Caribbean tour that they did, which tells me that I think because they've been kind of pushed into the background, that they haven't been given any kind of training, or they don't really have any kind of insight as to how to conduct themselves in this modern era. And I mean, that's something that the royal household is terrible at, period. But for their most minor royals, it's like nothing has been done at all to try and prepare them for what it means to be a modern royal. Joyce, she seems much better since Harry saw her. Dressed better, she looks better. Something was going on for sure. Dina, okay, so this is a comment on Oman. Very beautiful country. Only one problem: do not go there during the summer because it's very hot. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen a lot of travel bloggers do some really, really nice videos of Oman, like driving through the desert and the backcountry. It's definitely on the travel list. I definitely want to see more of that region of the world. So thank you so much for your comments on that and for your super chat earlier. Dawn, I agree with you about that. We as Black people should stop letting ourselves be used as props for the royal family as well as our children. I mean, I'm of the opinion that literally everybody should stop meeting with these people until we have more transparency about this institution, but more so if you're a person of color. Joyce, the pickings are slim, so they have to use who they have. Edward and Sophia have no idea. Well, is this not the slimmed down monarchy that Charles wanted? I mean, it's so slim, it's practically skin and bones at this point. All right, so moving on from that. So we all remember that just before Kate and William went for a Caribbean tour, it was announced that the deportation flights to Jamaica were paused, and they were going to be paused until William and Kate came back from the Caribbean. And of course, one of the places that they visited was Jamaica, and probably the worst optics of the entire tour came from Jamaica. Do I actually still have, because sometimes I delete slides. I think I might still have the pictures. Let me see if I do. Yes, here we go. The differences between Kate and William and Harry and Meghan. But this is what we got from the Jamaica tour, Colonizer Cosplay. And all while they knew that they were going to deport people as and when Kate and William got back to the UK. So this was put out by the Home Office for immediate release. Foreign criminals removed from the UK to Jamaica to make our streets safer. Now, to be honest with you, I can't comment on this wholly because I don't know the circumstances as to why these people were being deported, like what the full story is. But it's just strange to me how there just seems to be a double standard as to how some people are treated and others are. And given that Jamaica is a Commonwealth country, and in light of everything that happened during the Caribbean tour, this just comes across as very tone deaf. But I hope, if anything, this is just not necessarily a wake-up call, because I feel like the wake-up call has happened, but I hope that this continues to make the Commonwealth countries and Jamaica think about its relationship with the United Kingdom. And that process of emancipation, I think, was sped up during the Caribbean tour, and I just hope it continues now. So that was that. Marjorie, sorry, is it Major or Marjorie? Edwina the Obscure. I feel like that is just the perfect title for him. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. Edwina the Obscure. I don't actually know what his official title is. He's Prince of what? Okay, now I've got to Google it because I'll be irritated if I don't know. Prince Edward. Oh, he's the Earl of Wessex. Okay. See, I didn't even know that. But Edwina the Obscure sounds a lot more better than the Earl of Wessex, so that's what I'm going to call him from now on. Thank you very much, Majorie. Gwendolyn, Edward never do and no engagement, but now Harry and Meghan not doing their duty, they have to draw out the old battle axe. Of course. I mean, this is a slimmed down monarchy that Charles wanted, no? Oh dear, we have a troll. Thank you so much for joining and increasing ad revenue. Appreciated. All right, on to the meat of today. This. So I saw this first thing in the morning. This story that was posted on MSN. Now, first thing I'm going to say, and I said this on the community tab earlier, stories on MSN are often pulled from other websites. And this was another website that had written this, a foreign website. I think it was a French site. And it then ended up popping up on the MSN feed. So I think some people saw MSN and they instantly thought, oh, well, it must be legitimate. But you got to remember that a lot of these stories get pulled from other sites. And instantly it pretty much went viral. And people were sharing it, but I have not seen this story of William and Kate separating on any other major news outlet. And within maybe 4 or 5 hours of it being up, it got taken down. And I can only assume that they probably were served papers from the palace. I'm not sure, but it got taken down. And as someone rightly said, KP allowed and contributed to many false stories about Meghan, but with this report about William and Kate and several others, they flexed their power to get it removed. We already know who gets the protection in that institution. Right, and the website in question that initially posted it was not really like a huge site. It could have very easily been ignored. But I feel like because now they've gone after them, people were obviously they've screen printed the story, they've archived the story. So people were sharing it even more and more interested than I think if they had just left it, because no other legitimate news source was even talking about this. So I feel like them actually trying to shut this story down has made it worse. But of course, it's not the first time that there have been hints of something going on with William and Kate's marriage. The body language experts that only seem to appear when it's Harry and Meghan seem to ignore that there has been frostiness between them for a very long time. A couple of weeks ago, there was this story from Dan. The calls are coming from inside the house, Wooten. A whole story talking about Kate being ready to fly solo and how William is backing his wife to make more Diana-style appearances. And this article did raise quite a few eyebrows, and we know that people within the palace leak to Dan Wooten all the time. But well before that, going back some time, there was this story in, I think this was the Daily Beast or Page 6, talking about Prince William's lawyers trying to suppress rumours of an affair and a possible super injunction that was put in to suppress that. And then you've got this quote from Jobson, who of course is one of the royal rota, but I think he speaks more for Prince Charles than he does for William, accusing William of being a shouter. After 11 years of marriage, heated scenes do occur from time to time, especially since William is said to have said to be not quite as level-headed as he may appear in public. And for the longest time, you've had press articles, journalists speaking on William being incandescent with rage, to the point where it literally became a joke within the squad now. Everybody calling him incandescent. That is literally his nickname. I remember even back when Hugo used to do Hugo Talks, and he would talk about Harry and Meghan. He would make fun of this whole, incandescent with rage. And incandescent is a very, very strong word to use. It means that you are literally boiling, fuming, lit up with rage. It's not, a phrase that you just throw around. And so I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. And I would not expect, if they are divorcing, I don't actually think that they're divorcing yet. I believe that they've been separated for quite some time because the signs have been there. But I would not expect any type of announcement before the Jubilee, if anything is going on. But like I also said in the community tab, I think it's important that we do be mindful that there are children involved, and really it's them who this is sad for. So I don't really care much for William and Kate, because I think in many ways they're just getting back what they put out. But I do feel bad for the Cambridge children, because they are innocent in all of this. And it's just going to be another generation of royal children being dragged into unnecessary dramas. Miss P talks, they are not criminals, they are children of the Windrush generation. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more reading into that. So I do believe you, Miss P talks. It's just I even with situations like that, I try not to speak too much on what I haven't read into. But thank you so much for letting me know. I think that that is just awful if these are, you know, just the children, because if it's the children, then they really don't know any other life than the life that they've lived in the United Kingdom. And if Jamaica is still a Commonwealth country, they should certainly be allowed to stay. But you know, I think then it speaks for why um, I think Jamaica should just part ways, because what are they getting from it? What are they getting from being part of the Commonwealth? Because it's their parents that came to help build this country. Yes, Black Queen. Criminals removed from the UK to Jamaica to make our streets safer. Says the colonizing criminals who stole and enslaved the ancestors of Black Jamaicans to build their wealth on Shutter Island. Exactly. Hamas. PSA, trolls, stay quiet and learn something. Yes. Learn something and then go back to your own little squad cave and talk about what you learned. Joyce, where did the French site get the story from? I have never seen this much backtracking. Yahoo, Cosmopolitan, etc. All of them backtrack the story. Well, I didn't see anyone else post it. So are you saying that Yahoo and Cosmopolitan posted it as well? But what's more interesting about all of this is that it coincides literally at the same time with another story that came out about fans reacting to a viral TikTok video of Kate and William holding hands in the Bahamas. So literally at the same time that article came out, this article came out. And supposedly it was a Sir Jimmy Rex from the US who captured the moment, which saw them holding hands. Yeah, this was another thing. They made a whole deal out of the fact that a married couple held hands. The bar is just so low. And many eagle-eyed fans reacted to the footage. Now, what was so interesting about Mr. Jimmy Rex is some comments that he's left. And yeah, this is who are stands of Kate and William. Some of the tweets that he left saying, not at all, just saying that I don't think one bad cop decision should means to stir up every black kid in America to hate cops. Saying, just saw a video of a girl kissing a black guy and said, ew, he's like black. Keep in mind, Rich is black as well. Okay, so if you wanted an innocent person to be guilty because if he was black, it would have been different. Then you are saying you only wanted him guilty. So yeah, he's a little bit of a ranter, this Jimmy Rex. And I just find it a bit strange that this is the guy that supposedly captured the moment of Kate Middleton and Prince William holding hands. Very weird. But yeah, that was that. Also, Camilla and Charles went over to Canada and they were met by 5 people. Now, to be fair, I could not find the context as to where these 5 people were and what they were waiting for. So I don't know if they had showed up to, they were meant to show up to some kind of event and the 5 people were just standing there. But there doesn't really seem to be a lot of fanfare about Camilla and Charles being in Canada. And I don't expect that there will be a lot of crowds. There's a lot going on politically in Canada, and I just think Canadians have better things to do than entertain Charles and Camilla. But to be honest, given what a disaster the Caribbean tours were, Charles and Camilla are probably quite happy to not have any fanfare. I actually think that's a safer thing if they have no fanfare. But back here in the UK, this was happening, some kind of meeting with Edwina, Ford Fiesta, and Kate, just um, just being very bland. Lydia, there's never smoke without fire. Something is fishy about William and Kate, for sure, and that we know that there has been for a long time. Yes, Marina, they let some members of the family suffer, and they protect others. Rochelle, MSN is US, right? They didn't have to if US. Well, it was, I think it was a French site, and then MSN basically reposted it from that site. So I don't know. They have won cases in France before. Remember the case with Kate's pictures that got released? That was in France. So I think that they do have some jurisdiction to go after international press. Oh gosh, no arguing in the comment section, guys. Sorry, I don't know what's going on here. Rose, why is Meghan's brother stalking her? I don't know. Maybe he's being paid by the palace. I don't understand how he's not looking at Samantha Markle and not realizing that it's probably just not a good idea to try and insert yourself in drama. Instead, he's just going full on and actually showing up to polo matches. I don't understand. Marina, do you think they'll wait until the Queen passes? Really? For me, it doesn't. Okay, maybe for now, separating and then perhaps divorcing when the Queen passes. I don't know. Whenever I see them together, there's just such a lack of chemistry. William just always looks irritated and incandescent with rage that I don't think that they can wait that long. To me, it seems like they're pretty desperate to separate, going off their body language, because I'm a body language expert and all now. Rose, what are Charles and his knife? I am going to act like you wrote knife on purpose, and that wasn't the autocorrect. Why is Charles and his knife in Canada? It's part of the Jubbly tour. Jen, Jamaica has indicated leaving the Commonwealth, so maybe this is a punishment to Jamaica. Sean, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh my God, Hugo used to give that family a good workover. Hugo would go in on them so bad until they were threatened to shut down his channel. I love Hugo. Yeah, I really like Hugo too. I just think that obviously Hugo had his own opinions about Harry and Meghan's involvement with the jab rollout, with their involvement with the UN. And at that point, he just decided that he was no longer going to support the Sussexes. And to be fair, he's entitled to his own opinion. And despite that, he never insulted the Sussexes. He just stated his opinion, handed over the channel, and kept it moving. So with that, I really don't have anything bad to say about Hugo. Because when he was pro-Sussex, he was really pro-Sussex. and a British voice that was pro-Sussex. That was quite unusual at the time. Miss P talks. Most of them were born here. They know nothing about Jamaica, and Priti Patel has been doing this on an ongoing basis. It's not the first time the Home Office has done this. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that it doesn't look good on the government. I mean, we're literally talking about we're not even talking like hundreds of people or that we're literally talking about a handful of people here, right? I mean, I don't know how many people are involved in the Windrush scandal that they would just feel to target these people like this. It definitely it feels like it is very targeted to me. Rose, we in Canada need to do away with them. Yeah, I just think the whole Commonwealth is just like what is the point of it? What is the point? I've never found a good explanation as to why countries or how countries benefit from it. It's like just truly the last remnants of empire, and it's just the last it's just like they're hanging on to the final string, because if the Commonwealth goes, then all the Windsors have is the United Kingdom, and you have more and more people who are turning to republicanism. Verda, true, children must be protected at all costs. On either side, children are not involved in what grown people do. You are correct. Yes. And I feel like the press, evil as they are going to go after those children enough as it is, that we don't need to pile on to the kids. Subscribe. The quick deletion makes the article look like a trial balloon. If it floats, sympathetic response. There will be an announcement, but if it sings apathy. Well, this was another theory that some people had. And what's interesting is, social media spoke. There were actually, and I don't agree with this, but I know why they were doing it. But there were a lot of people that were actually celebrating, or that thought it was funny, and they weren't necessarily, can I just say, squaddies. In fact, I saw a lot of non-squaddies who thought it was quite funny. So if they wanted to do a test run and see what the reaction was, well, they've got it. I think it's mostly people are kind of just shrugging their shoulders and saying "comma," or showing just apathy. Lisa, I don't think William and Kate actually like each other, just playing a role. Yeah, that's what it seems like. I mean, if you actually go back to their dating times, there are actually very affectionate and loving photographs of William and Kate. Like, I know that people often, make fun of the fact that, oh, she waited 10 years and she chased him around. But I do believe that there was genuinely a time where they were very much in love with each other, genuinely in love with each other. And you can see it in those pictures in the early days. But it's the institution that just sucked all of the joy and love out of these two people. But having said that, they had a choice to help change the direction in which the institution were going. And they just decided to play along with tradition instead of go against the grain like Harry and Meghan. And they're now paying the price. Because imagine how powerful a team between Harry and Meghan and William and Kate would have been to change the direction of the monarchy if they wanted to work with Harry and Meghan. But they chose not to. They chose to be jealous. Any of the Express posters that Charles and Camilla were booted out. Booted out from where? Oh, it was for a garden party. Is this for a garden party? Wow. Okay. Going back to what I said, um, I'm just gonna double down. Even more bland. Now that you're telling me that this is for a garden party, why do they look so miserable? And why are they in formation for a garden party? Wow. I mean, you would think that Edward can at least crack a smile. He's front and center for once. How are you gonna stand like this for a garden party? Cookies and cream. Thomas Jr. has crossed the line by stalking Meghan. The Sussexes are going to teach him a lesson he'll never forget. These fools refuse to understand that Harry doesn't play when it comes to his family. Indeed. I mean, the nerve to do that, really. And then actually tag hashtag Sussex Royal, hashtag Meghan in um in his caption. If he talks, I think William truly misses his brother. I think perhaps sometimes he does, no, but I think he's damaged his relationship with his brother forever. Um, I think even if they were to reconcile, if I was Harry, I would definitely still always keep some space because really the way that William has betrayed Harry and his family is just unforgivable. Benjamin, why are the press ignoring Will and Rose yet make up outrageous lies about Harry and Meghan? Well, because of the invisible contract. That simple. And then allegedly, for the lawyers listening, there is a super injunction. Allegedly. Even just talking about the super injunction, you have to say allegedly. Like you can't actually say that there is a. Do you know that, guys? That you can't actually say that there's a super injunction without saying allegedly, because even that would get you in trouble. Um, Dara, the royals don't have to stop being. They just need to update their traditions to the 21st century. Exactly, like every other royal family in Europe has. Um, Virginia, I don't think Egghead is going to be happy until he has a woman that is just as articulate and as intelligent as Harry's wife, Meghan. I don't even think he'll be happy then, Virginia. I don't think he will be. Because if that's what he wanted, he would have gone for that in the first place. And if he only wants it now because he's jealous of what his brother has, then he'll truly never be happy. He has to find happiness for himself. Miss P talks. Kate reminds me of Princess Anna and Happy Times So Sad. History repeating itself. All right, so yes, I was curious as to how much the Jubbly was going to cost. And so I couldn't find any official figures on this upcoming Jubilee, but I could find figures for the last one. And the Diamond Jubilee celebration cost over 800 million pounds. I have no idea how much that would be in today's money adjusted for inflation, but we're probably looking at 1 billion plus. Now I also couldn't find, although I'm sure it would be in some kind of royal accounting breakdown, government figures or something if I looked hard enough for it. And I will do, because I want to know exactly where that money was allocated. Because even if we're just looking at the celebrations for the main day, security, setting up the concert, it wouldn't come up to that much. So I really want to know where all that money went. And I'm assuming that it's probably going to cost around that same amount of money, if not more, for this Jubilee. And like this statement I saw that was floating around Twitter said, the Platinum Jubilee is a fantastic opportunity for the people who can't afford to heat or eat to celebrate the woman who owns a £3 million hat, probably worth more than that, a £25 million chair, 30 palaces, and a £1 billion jewelry collection. That is literally what we're doing. And Yasmin Brown, who has been quite the defender of Harry and Meghan. There was that famous segment that she did where she was talking to Piss Moron, and she was saying, that she felt that Meghan didn't know what she was getting herself into, that Meghan needed to run. I'm sure some of you remember this, and she wasn't wrong. But she did a very good opinion piece where she talked about how the cost of the living crisis makes the Queen's Jubilee just look very grossly excessive and very crass. And she says, 2,000 street parties and private bashes, do they not know inflation is leading to unbearable food poverty? And she goes on to say, forgive me for being a party pooper, a spoil sport, but not all Britons are gearing up for nationwide revelries to mark Queen Elizabeth's 70-year reign. They, like me, are dismayed and incensed by the scale of the planned celebrations. I am a Republican, but I do agree that the monarch's long rule in her life, which embodies so much history, should be honoured and commemorated. Now, see, okay, I'm just going to stop there. This is something that I keep hearing people say over and over and over again. Even during the Queen's during the Queen's reign, there are several atrocities that she has seen and overseen without saying or doing anything. And I just don't understand this whole idea of celebrating someone for literally just holding a position without doing much to facilitate change while being in that position. Because there are other people throughout history who have done way more revolutionary things than the Queen, and they don't get £1 billion parties thrown for them. I don't think they would want £1 billion parties thrown for them. But I just cannot get behind this whole idea of, oh, the dear's been there for 70 years, so she deserves a celebration. For what? Please give me, please give me the list of truly impactful things that the Queen has done before we continue to say that. But anyway, the article continues. She goes on to say, and that we should always respect the elderly. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that sentiment either. The elderly can be horrible people too. But 1,400 plus public events, 2,000 street parties and private bashes, PIM sales up by 260%. Do they not know there is a war on? And that inflation is leading to unbearable food poverty? The fuel costs are hitting ordinary people who work incredibly hard to support their families. How can the nation afford this? Hyper royalists may well sneer, let them eat Jubilee cake. They know the poor and dispossessed will never revolt in this country. And that is so true. They absolutely know that there will never be revolt. And that is why they continue. Not just with this Jubbly that's costing stupid amounts of money when people can't even heat their homes, but it's why they can flaunt Prince Andrew in front of our faces. It's why they could pay 12 million, possibly more, to bail him out of a court case, because they just know that the people will not revolt. The article goes on to say that most of those who have little or nothing revere the monarch and her brood. It's unfathomable why, with never-ending royal scandals, the Queen's support for Andrew, the way the Windsors express entitlement and manifest inexhaustible greed, Harry and Meghan, who represented modernity and diversity, were hounded out. Like Diana, Meghan destabilized their ways and values. Both women remain unforgiven by ardent royalists. Diana's nemesis is now set to be the next queen. This unworthy family sits on top of Britain's social pyramid, proudly overseeing an unequal system. They should be more mindful and less arrogant. I agree, but for as long as people allow them to continue and not hold them accountable, they'll just carry on. And really, why shouldn't they? If they're not being held accountable for their shortcomings, why wouldn't they just continue? I mean, wouldn't you? The peasants aren't revolting, so let's just continue. JJ, what is a super injunction? A super injunction is a tool that is used to stop the press from talking about something that you don't want them to talk about. And the thing about a super injunction is, and why they're so problematic, is if say the Daily Fail or any major newspaper within the jurisdiction where the super injunction has power, if they were to talk about William picking roses in the garden, they can actually have assets seized. That's one of the penalties for a super injunction. And also the difference with a super injunction versus an injunction is, with a super injunction, you're not even allowed to say that there was a super injunction. So you can get in trouble just for saying that there was a super injunction, let alone saying what the super injunction was put in place for. I hope that kind of explains it. Angela, there has to be a strong reason why Kate is always grinning. Could it be to mask some kind of emotional pain? I think so. Because it's not a normal thing for someone to constantly be grinning and smiling the way she does. Like, you can have a very like a soft resting face, like a soft resting happy face, but constantly grinning. It's like whenever someone overdoes their emotion, they're definitely trying to hide something. Kat Harlem, I always thought Kate was in love with Will. I believe William really enjoyed Light and enjoyed Kate and felt she would be the right wife. The right wife for the job of a royal wife, but the right wife for him, I'm not sure, because it seems like, or from what people have said, Jessa, or is it Jessa or Jekka, the one who lives in Kenya? People always say that she was his true love, and he even left Kate and the kids over Easter bank holiday, flew over to Kenya for her wedding. And in fact, I think he even proposed to Kate at the ranch that Jessa's family owns. Isn't that right? Can someone research that? Because I think that's what he did. Marina, I was surprised to learn that the former queen of the Netherlands is styled as princess, not queen. Just shows how some monarchs are relaxed. Yeah, because who actually wants to be royal? Who really wants to be royal? It just seems like, well, no, it is literally a gilded cage. I think they want the nice privileges and perks that come with being a royal without all of the archaic rules that you have to follow. And the other royal families across Europe have done the smart thing and relaxed a lot of the stuffy protocols, but the Windsors have not. Julia Rock, just watching on the news, crowds in Ottawa loving them. Yuck. Were they quite big crowds or small crowds? Do they look like crowds that were paid for? Check the advertising section of the newspaper. Were there calls for extras? Then we'll know. Were they there because they wanted to be there or because they were paid? Jean, William didn't think Harry would find a wife like Meghan, and it made him realize his wife cannot compare. It was so obvious when all four of them were together on stage. Yes, I remember that. You could feel the tension. It was the most awkward meeting. And I don't think they did another one like that together after that. Kat Harlem, in my opinion, William married the woman who he felt his mother should have been to his father. Harry became the man he felt his father should have been to his mother. Oh, Kat Harlem. If I could give you a super sticker for that, I would. So well said. I'm going to repost that all over the socials. Thank you, Kat Harlem. That is so true. Wow. I feel like you could unpack that whole statement in a whole nother podcast. Thank you so much, Kat Harlem. Khadija, the money could have gone to poor people in the UK. Of course it could have. We can't give the peasants their bread now. Can't be doing that. Eri, I'm sure it will cost more. Got to factor in inflation. Indeed. Okay, so yeah, and this all going on as the cost of living crisis continues to get worse. Yes, Ethany, all it means is that Lizzie has managed to live this long. Like, listen, if anyone can actually give me a list of impactful things that the Queen has done for normal working class people, give me that list, and then we can have a conversation as to whether or not she should be celebrated. Because I'm sorry, but you're not going to convince me that somebody should be awarded just for holding a position for a very long time when they haven't done anything for normal working class people. Rebecca, Kate will hang in there. Her mother will not have it. The mother invested a lot in the relationship. Well, she invested a lot in the relationship, thinking that everything was going to go smoothly. A very beautiful, excuse me, a beautiful, innovative, modern, biracial duchess marrying the spare, that was not part of the plan when Cara Middleton invested all her time and money into getting Kate into the royal family. So do not assume that if it's for their own gain, and at this point, as 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 bad as a divorce would be for the kids, um, it works in Kate's favor at this point to leave because she's leaving a sinking ship. So don't assume just because Cara Middleton put in all that work to get her daughter in that she wouldn't pull her out if if it works in their favor, because at this point it actually does. Oh, Kennetha, the concert was on ITV on Sunday evening. It must have cost millions. Are you talking about the last Jubilee or the horse show thing that they did? Yeah, I'd like to know how much the horse show cost. I mean, I know they had sponsors, but there's got to have been some taxpayer money involved in that. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Black Queen. Much appreciated. Stephanie, you certainly can't justify and not criticize the amount of money being spent on a glorified party when you whine and cry about any money Meghan and Harry have or may spend. Top hypocrisy there. Marina, Kate, like any woman going through issues, marriage will try to work on her marriage, and honestly, there is nothing her mum can do to fix it. But she can be a rich woman if they divorce. Yeah, like she'll be fine financially. I'm sure she'll get a pretty nice divorce payout and money for the kids, and her parents are still rich and they've got their own money. Party Pieces is still running, so I'm assuming that it's still making some money, and I'm sure the family have all kinds of investments as well. So, like financially, she'll be fine. Every Moon, imagine if they actually use this opportunity to highlight service to the people, speak up for those struggling, and hand things out to the public as an act of goodwill. Yeah, that would be the right thing to do. But doing the right thing isn't something that the royals are really good at. All right, so just double check. Was there anything else that Yeah, so there wasn't really anything else for today, and we are running almost over an hour, so I think it's time to wrap things up. Only other thing that I did see was in other UK news was that the Ukraine refugees, or some of them, are now becoming homeless after falling out with hosts. So there was a call that was put out by the British government to house Ukrainian refugees, and you are going to get, I think it's £350 a month, I think it was, to help house a family. So there are now reports of some people having conflicts with sponsors caused by cost and lifestyle differences. And that £350 a month to host a family, that is nothing. £350, that like will barely cover food for a family of 3 or 4. And people are already under pressure financially. So I was never against this initiative. I think that countries should always help where they can when people are in need. But what I did say at the time, and I will say again now, is that it should be the most privileged and wealthy people that offer their that offer to help first, because they have the most resources. And when this campaign was first launched, you had a whole host of celebrities inviting everyone to bring in refugees with open arms. And I'd like to know how many of those celebrities actually sponsored a family. Because if all the rich and wealthy in this country put their money, or put a little bit of money aside, we could have enough money and resources to house and help all of these people. What the government is trying to do with this, I think, is trying to get ordinary people to do the work that they should be doing. And unfortunately, it's coming with some issues. And then I saw this. So, uh, someone on Twitter said that her little sister has been struggling with a health condition and finally got to see a doctor. And they apparently charged her $40 for crying. And they marked it as showing, I think that says showing emotional trauma. I can't quite see the writing, but someone who's in the US, if you can please explain this, that would be highly appreciated. Because please explain to me how someone gets charged $40 for crying or showing emotion. I'll never forget, some time back, there was a video of a man who was being put on an ambulance, and he literally like ran off the ambulance stretcher because I think he just didn't want to get charged. I don't know, maybe he didn't have insurance. This happened in the US, but he ran off the stretcher, ran down the road, and then bumped into a pizza man and then fell on the floor again. So yeah, please, somebody from the US, if you can explain that, that would be much appreciated. But that's all I have to say for today. Thank you, everyone, as always, for coming. And we'll finish up with your comments and we will call it a day. Chosen to be his. Have we heard or seen any of the Middleton's family since they announced that Camilla will be Queen Consort? That is a very good question, and the answer is no. And isn't that interesting? Because prior to that, all we could hear about was how Kate was a queen in waiting, and we got several stories about Cara Middleton. I mean, they were almost like trying to position her to be called the Queen Mother, and that's just not going to happen. So yeah, you're right. The Middletons have been mighty silent. Joseph, the Sussexes have been more impactful in 3 years than the spiteful firm has in 30. In 300 years, Joseph. But yes, the Sussexes continue to be more impactful than the firm. That goes without saying. Marina, if she sees her daughter's misery worsen, she'll definitely fold. She should be a mother now. That's left to be seen. But Dolores, you need to go back and listen to what William and Kate said at their engagement, especially the words of William's mouth, and watch Kate's face. Yeah. Their engagement announcement definitely gave me the whatever in love means vibes. Like, it definitely gave me the Charles and Diana vibes. Also, do you know what? I don't remember a whole lot of what was said other than when William was talking about why it took 10 years. But I do remember like the actual scenes in my mind. And if you go back and watch it, warning to those of you who might suffer from epilepsy, It was just an attack, a literal attack of flashes. Hundreds and hundreds of camera flash in a very confined space. I think I even hear Camilla Tominey's voice in the background, but it was completely different from Harry and Meghan's engagement. And looking at Kate and William's engagement, I can 100% understand why Harry decided there's going to be a giant pond in between me and the press. Because I can't imagine how triggering it would have been for Harry to have to stand there with hundreds of flashes going off right in front of your face. So go back and watch Harry and Meghan's engagement announcement with the press and look at the distance of where the press was to Harry and Meghan, and go back and watch Kate and William's engagement announcement. Like, the difference is so big. Thank you so much, Dina. Thank you for the super sticker. Yes, please hit the like button, everyone. Joyce, the question is, does he want out the marriage? Not if she doesn't want out. Well, I think it's on both sides. Marina and books she could probably, but she could obviously write. Do you think that Catherine would ever write a book? I don't know. Something tells me that she'll just take the money and be silent. I don't know if she'd write a book. And I think that if she was to leave, it would probably be part of an agreement that she can't. All right, who's going to get the last word of the day? Marina, medical bills are not a joke in the US. Yeah, I mean, $40 for crying? That is very strange. I've literally never heard of that before. Those of you joining us, we are literally just wrapping up, so you'll have to watch on replay or wait for me to put it on Spotify and Apple and listen to a more cut down and shorter version of it. For those of you that listened to the first full podcast that I uploaded on Spotify and Apple, what did you all think of the intro? What did you think of the intro song? Joyce, Harry and Meghan gave them the picture taken moment at the sunken garden, and that was it. Yeah. And that's all they deserved, really. They did not deserve any other access other than that. Yeah, Marina, they controlled everything from the get-go, and the rota did not like that. Okay, Effany Green, I will give you the last word of the day. Guys, can you hear my voice literally cracking? Wow. Yeah, I am definitely done. Wow, my voice is just like gone. Okay, Ethany Green, before I just can't talk anymore. So Sussex supporters, be blessed, be well, and stay safe. Agreed. All right, everybody, let's dance our way out. See you tomorrow.
I know I messed it up, but in my soul, I still love for you that's out of control. Sometimes I feel like I can make you whole. I just can't change my emotions. There isn't anything I wouldn't do to prove that everything I say is true. And if you let me, I can love you. I just can't change my emotions. Come on, love me again. You're all I need. Can you love me again?
this one, press that against that. Yep, perfect. So you can see on the screen here, you can see that you've got